Look, before you start blaming me for everything, I just want you to know that I've always had Gracie's best interest at heart. And I think I've done a pretty good job with her, except for this one measly little dead friend thing.
Remember when a leopard print jacket and enough Yiddish catchphrases to fill a deli somehow became one of the most iconic sitcoms of the 90s? Yeah, that was The Nanny. When the show premiered on CBS in 1993, it proved that a loud, lovable woman from Queens could absolutely rule Wednesday nights. Over 6 seasons and 146 episodes, Fran Drescher, Charles Shaughnessy, Daniel Davis, Lauren Lane, and those Sheffield kids turned a simple premise. A bridal shop girl becomes nanny to an uptight British family into a cultural phenomenon. But behind all that sequined glamour and that theme song you still can't get out of your head, there's a lot you probably don't know. Now, before we get started, hit subscribe, drop a like, and grab your most fabulous matching animal print outfit because we're about to get into 15 weird and wonderful facts about The Nanny. And stick around for fact number 1, where we talk about how Fran turned Hollywood's biggest complaint into an entire career. Now, let's roll with number 15, the first-class pitch that changed sitcom history. Before The Nanny became a primetime powerhouse, Fran Drescher and Marc Jacobson went through a rough patch in the mid-80s after a traumatic home invasion. It was a difficult moment, but they rebuilt, kept working, and kept hustling because if Fran Drescher has a superpower, it's turning setbacks into punchlines. Cut to a few years later, Fran cashes in frequent flyer miles and scores a first-class upgrade on a TWA flight to Paris. Lucky break, right? Well, turns out it's the most important upgrade in sitcom history.
Until I was 6, I thought that our initials were TWA.
Because sitting right next to her, trapped for 9.5 uninterrupted hours, was CBS president Jeff Saganski. As Fran later joked, where was he going to go? Coach? With all that time at 30,000 feet, Fran launched into an off-the-cuff pitch. A loud, lovable girl from Queens becomes the nanny to a wealthy British Broadway producer's kids. Half romance, half fish out of water, all Fran Drescher energy. Saganski was hooked. By the time they landed, he'd invited her to pitch it formally at CBS. The pilot went on to test through the roof with one of the highest scores the network had seen in years, and The Nanny became the first official pickup of the 1993 season.
Yes, that's right. And someday your father's gonna be old and sick. You're gonna want him to live with her.
So yes, a single free upgrade, something most of us use to stretch our legs, helped launch a global TV phenomenon. Just goes to show, always be ready with your best idea, especially if you're sitting next to the guy who can greenlight it. Number 14, Fran Drescher almost didn't play Fran Fine. Here's a fun thought experiment. Imagine The Nanny without Fran Drescher. Impossible, right? The voice, the laugh, the Queen's attitude, well, that wasn't just part of the show, it was the show, which makes this next part wild.
Fine, we were in the middle of something.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm here. You know, you shouldn't leave the house with things unresolved. That's why men die young.
That's not why. It's because they want to.
Fran, the woman the entire concept revolved around, originally didn't want to cast herself at all. When she and Marc Jacobson created the series, Fran was convinced her real value was behind the scenes. She saw herself as the producer, the engine, the person shaping the tone and storytelling, not the one actually on camera wrangling 3 TV kids in designer miniskirts. She worried audiences wouldn't buy her as the lead, that she'd be too Fran to play Fran Fine, and that another actress might come across more polished, more conventional, or more network friendly. So she actively pushed to hire someone else while she stayed focused on building the show from the ground up.
I'm the worst nanny in the world. All right, Rebecca De Mornay, then me.
But the network and Peter weren't having it. They kept insisting the same thing over and over. The show only worked because of her. Her voice, her timing, her Queen's background, that wasn't something another performer could imitate. That was the magic.
I remember when I was 14, my mother came to pick me up after school in a halter top and pedal pushers. Oh, I'm still looking for the right support group.
Eventually, Fran agreed to step in front of the camera, and the rest is sitcom history. What she initially saw as a risky move turned into the defining role of her career, proving that sometimes the best person for the job is the one who tried to stay behind the curtain. Number 13, the mansion wasn't anywhere near Manhattan. For years, fans have made the pilgrimage to the real Sheffield Townhouse exterior in Manhattan. Yes, the one at 7 East 75th Street. It's become a full-on fan landmark, with people snapping photos on the stoop, recreating Fran Fine poses, and basically living their best leopard print fantasy on the Upper East Side.
Excellent work, sweetheart.
Thanks. Hi, Mom. Oh, what do you mean by that?
But don't get too excited looking for that sweeping staircase or those museum-level columns inside, because none of that was ever there. The moment you walk through the real front door, the illusion collapses faster than Niles after a good CC insult. Every inch of the Sheffield interior, the grand foyer, the chandelier-filled living room, the ultra-glam dining space was built thousands of miles away on a soundstage in Los Angeles.
Fran, my darling.
I've got the most amazing news for you, for us.
I already know. Margaret called me from the doctors to give me the good news.
No, something else.
And I have to say, thank God.
All the fancy furniture, elaborate moldings, and sitcom perfect layouts, yeah, that's pure Hollywood, not New York real estate. So yes, you can absolutely visit 7 East 75th Street for your perfect Fran just arrived Instagram moment, but if you're hoping to find Maxwell's staircase or the spot where Niles delivered his deadliest one-liners, sorry, those only existed under studio lights. The exterior was real, the interior was LA, and together they fooled millions, proving that the Nanny's greatest special effect wasn't the wardrobe, it was the geography. Number 12, Fran Fine's makeup took 45 minutes, and that was on a good day. Becoming Fran Fine wasn't a throw on some lipstick and go situation. It was a precise operation, and Fran had the same makeup artist, Kenneth Schoenfeld, transform her into TV's most fabulous nanny day after day. Kenneth Paul wasn't just applying makeup, he was basically running mission control with an eyeliner brush.
How do I look?
Gorgeous.
But do you think the dress makes me look...
No.
Do you like what I did?
Yes.
Great. I just gotta change my purse.
Every episode required about 45 minutes of meticulous work to build Fran's signature glam. The bold lips, the dramatic eyes, the exact placement of every beauty mark, all of which had to match perfectly, even when scenes were shot wildly out of order.
Here's the most important thing. You have to look subtle, natural, and understated. Like this.
And through 6 seasons of slapstick, crying scenes, running in heel scenes, and Fran don't touch that expensive furniture moments, the makeup never budged. Ever. The glam was locked in like it had its own SAG card. The funniest part is, Fran Fine never had a bad makeup day. Not once. The script could say she was stressed, sick, heartbroken, or covered in soot, but it didn't matter. Her face remained immaculate because Kenneth Paul kept her camera ready through chaos, comedy, and couture.
And I appreciate your discretion.
Oh, well, thank you for holding my hair.
Anytime.
So, if you wondered why Fran always looked like she was 5 minutes from a Vogue shoot, even while nannying 3 kids, the answer is simple. It was all thanks to a makeup artist who worked miracles before breakfast. Number 11, the Sheffield kids were cast for vibes, not resumes. When it came to casting Maggie, Brighton, and Gracie, the producers didn't want tiny professionals with resumes longer than their school supply lists. They wanted kids who actually felt like they belonged in Fran Fine's chaotic, fabulous orbit.
All right, come on, Gracie. Let's leave Father alone to hire someone else to take care of his problem children.
Oh, you're a bitter little person, aren't you?
A radical concept, especially for 90s Hollywood, which normally cast 25-year-olds to play freshmen in high school. Nicole Tom was the veteran of the bunch. Beethoven movies, Beverly Hills High, all that good stuff. Benjamin Salisbury had Captain Ron and a collection of commercials under his belt. And then there was Madeline Zima, just 7 years old, missing teeth and absolutely adorable.
Oh, you have no idea how complicated I am.
Therapy, huh?
A walking HR violation for any show that demanded 14-hour days and perfect diction, though. Some executives worried she was too young for the grind, but then she interacted with Fran and every adult in the room basically went, oh yeah, that's Grace. Chemistry like that can't be manufactured, and trust us, plenty of 90s sitcoms tried. And that's the weird beauty of it all.
The sweater you wore today is just gorgeous. Sure, no wonder Jason Matthews has a crush on you. Don't you think he looks just like Marky Mark?
The kids weren't cast to be polished, they were cast to be believable. So when Fran confronted Gracie after a nightmare or gave Maggie advice about boys, it didn't feel like acting at all. It felt like a real nanny talking to real kids, just with better wardrobe and a lot more sequence. Number 10, Fran Fine's wardrobe cost more than your first car. Now, let's be honest, The real showstopper on The Nanny wasn't Maxwell's Broadway career or Niles' shade throwing, it was Fran Fine's wardrobe, which could have powered its own runway show and probably cost more than your first car and your second.
Oh, Miss Fine, would it be too forward of me to say, whoa, baby girl?
Emmy-winning costume designer Brenda Cooper treated every episode like Fashion Week. We're talking Moschino, Dolce & Gabbana, Todd Oldham, and vintage pieces so pricey they probably came with their own security detail. While most 90s sitcoms were dressing their casts in whatever the mall had on sale, Fran strutted into scenes like she'd just escaped from a couture photo shoot. Some outfits cost thousands each. Her wedding dress? $12,000. Her Moschino heart-shaped purse? That's a collector's item today that will financially ruin you on eBay.
Oh, hi, Val, you're not gonna believe this present that Tony gave me.
Cooper once joked she must have stayed within budget, which is adorable considering that budget was clearly the GDP of a small country. And let's talk practicality as well. Fran was a nanny running after 3 kids, yet she wore sequins, leopard print, vinyl minis, feather trims, and heels that violated at least 6 OSHA guidelines. But that was the magic. While everyone else on TV wore neutrals, Fran Fine dressed like a human exclamation point and made it iconic. Every outfit was a statement, loud, confident, and completely unforgettable. Queen chic on a millionaire's budget. Number 9, the show ended because they ran out of story. By season 6, The Nanny ran into the same wall every will they won't they sitcom eventually hits. They finally did. For 5 seasons, Fran Fine and Maxwell Sheffield circled each other like 2 people sharing one brain cell, almost kissing, almost confessing, almost admitting they were in love. CBS milked that tension like it was a dairy farm keeping the lights on.
Yes, well, I'm feeling much better.
Really? You look exhausted.
But once Fran and Maxwell got married in the season 5 finale, the entire engine of the show, the chase, vanished overnight. Fans were thrilled, sure, but the writers suddenly had the sitcom equivalent of empty cupboards and a dinner party to host. So they tried everything. Pregnancy storyline? Check. Twins? Check. A Niles and Cece romance paid off after years of insults? Check. Moving the whole family to California? Why not?
Fran, do you think I'll fit in California?
Oh, sweetie. You've got style. You've got flair.
That's what I got from the nanny.
But even Fran Drescher and Peter Marc Jacobson admitted later that The Nanny probably should have ended right after the wedding or shortly after. CBS, however, wanted one more season and basically said have the wedding or we cancel you. So the creative team pushed forward, stretching a story that had already reached its natural happily ever after. Viewers felt the shift, ratings dipped, and the fizzy, flirtatious magic of the early seasons simply wasn't built to survive domestic bliss and double strollers.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Sleep dwell in thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Ah, would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest.
By the finale, Fran gave birth to twins, the Sheffields head west, and the show bows out. Not with scandal or drama, just the simple reality that the show had nowhere left to go once the will they won't they became yep they did. Number 8, Renée Taylor based Sylvia on her own aunt. Sylvia Fine wasn't just a sitcom mom with a bottomless appetite and a PhD in guilt trips, she was practically a family heirloom. Renée Taylor modeled the character directly after her own aunt, borrowing her exact mannerisms, rhythms, and that unmistakable I'm not judging but I'm definitely judging vibe.
Oh, sure you will. You're his partner in life. You're the woman behind the man. Help him, support him.
The name, though, that came from Fran Drescher's real-life mother, also named Sylvia, making the TV version a tag team creation. Renée provided the blueprint. Fran provided the name. Together, they built the ultimate sitcom mom. And yes, all 3 women, Fran, Renée, and Sylvia Drescher, have spent time together over the years, sharing laughs, stories, and plenty of food. Fran and Renée, in particular, developed a very close bond throughout the series and long after it ended.
Remind me never to crash in the Andes with you.
Sweetheart, you know I'd eat you last.
It's the kind of connection that makes their on-screen chemistry feel even richer when you rewatch the show. So, the Sylvia Fine you saw on TV was really a 3-woman celebration. Renée's aunt, Fran's mom, and a larger-than-life fictional diva who somehow became one of the most recognizable matriarchs in sitcom history. Alright, now a quick question for the comments. I need to know what your favorite Fran Fine outfit is. Let us know below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Now let's get back to the countdown with number 7. Lauren Lane hid her pregnancy behind props until they gave Cece an overeating storyline. When Lauren Lane, our beloved Ice Queen Cece Babcock, became pregnant in real life, the writers had a clear mission. Cece cannot be pregnant on the show, so they did what 90s sitcoms did best when an actress had a baby bump. They played an Olympic-level game of hide the belly.
I am so embarrassed. The things I said, the things he said.
Suddenly, Cece was popping up in scenes behind couches, potted plants, catering trays, oversized handbags, giant binders, basically anything short of a moving van. If there was a random decorative object within 20 feet, they slapped it in front of her and called it blocking. But eventually, even the props department ran out of furniture big enough to keep the secret. So the writers panicked and went with option B. Let's give Cece an overeating storyline. Yeah. When all else failed, they explained her changing figure by having her stress eat her way through the episode.
Oh, Miss Babcock, I feel so sorry for you. You're going to be alone and miserable for the rest of your life.
And then came the now infamous moment where they took it even further with a gag about Cece swelling up after overeating, the comedic cover for Lauren's real pregnancy. Lauren later joked in interviews that it was one of the most ridiculous things they ever asked her character to do, and honestly, she's not wrong. It's a peak 90s sitcom logic. If you can't hide the pregnancy behind a fern, just write the character into a food spiral and hope no one notices. Number 6, celebrity cameos basically took over the show. By the later seasons of The Nanny, the show wasn't just popular, it was apparently the hottest hangout spot in Hollywood. Celebrity cameos didn't stop by anymore, they arrived like they were checking in for a red carpet event. At one point, it felt like the Sheffields needed a velvet rope more than a nanny. We're talking Elizabeth Taylor, Celine Dion, Elton John, Bette Midler, Whoopi Goldberg, Ray Charles, Joan Collins, Rosie O'Donnell, and yes, even now President Donald Trump, back when he was simply a well-known New York real estate personality with a taste for gold decor.
Donald Trump, I'd like you to meet... Oh, what am I talking about? All you handsome zillionaires know each other.
Donald!
At first, the guest spots came from Fran Drescher's connections, but once the show blew up, the cameos started feeding themselves. Agents were literally calling the production office asking, "So, got room for my client on the couch this week?" Being on The Nanny became the 90s sitcom equivalent of being photographed at the trendy Beverly Hills restaurant of the moment. Writers even joked they should add a Celebrity of the Week credit to the opening titles because sometimes entire plot lines bent around whoever had time to swing by the studio.
Ooh, can I tell you stories about this one?
Oh, boy, can I tell you stories about this one?
A few episodes veered dangerously close to becoming star-studded variety specials where the Sheffields were the supporting cast, but honestly, that became part of the show's iconic charm. You don't pull in Elton John for a cameo unless your sitcom is a full-blown cultural phenomenon. The Nanny went from a mid-season question mark to the place every A-lister wanted to be seen and every viewer wanted to spot. Number 5, CBS nearly canceled it after season 1. It's hard to believe now, but The Nanny almost didn't survive long enough for anyone to learn the theme song. When it premiered in late 1993 as a mid-season replacement, TV code for, let's see what happens, the ratings were not great. They weren't terrible by any means, but definitely not global phenomenon with action figures and international remakes great. Network affiliates started circling it like it was leftovers in the fridge, and some wanted it yanked immediately.
Not that a big talk is necessarily any better than a little talk. The size of the talk is really not important. Any questions so far?
Have you seen my Nintendo?
CBS executives were sharpening their cancellation pencils, and it was looking very bleak for Fran, Maxwell, and the world's sassiest butler. But the show had one very powerful guardian angel, and his name is Jeff Saganski, the CBS president Fran famously pitched mid-flight on her Paris-bound plane. He loved the show and refused to let it be tossed aside. When affiliates pressured him to pull it, Saganski basically told them to relax and trust him. This loud dresser from Queens was going to work. And he was right. By season 2, the show exploded, becoming one of CBS's biggest comedy hits.
Babe, you and Kathy do the town. Buy whatever you want.
But I'm not going to see you all day?
Oh, look at that little lip. like a baby.
Ratings soared, merchandising followed, and suddenly The Nanny was airing in dozens of countries where viewers didn't even know what flushing was, they just knew they loved Fran Fine. So yes, the show that became a worldwide sensation was originally treated like filler TV. If Saganski hadn't gone to bat for it, the Sheffields might have been sent packing before Niles even served his first insult. Number 4, The Nanny reunion. Will they or won't they? Few things in life are certain. Taxes, gravity, and Fran Drescher teasing a Nanny reunion that never quite materializes. For years, fans have been strung along like Maxwell avoiding commitment in season 2.
Miss Fine, why the devil did you bring the baby here? Why didn't you just pass him over to a policeman straight away?
They're very busy. It's Sunday. The gays are coming out, the yuppies are working out, and the Jews are eating out.
It seems like every few months, someone from the cast mentions talks, ideas, or something in development, and social media goes into meltdown, only for everything to drift right back into Hollywood limbo. Fran and co-creator Marc Jacobson have pitched everything. A present-day movie catching up with the Sheffield clan, a full Broadway musical, a reboot with a new cast, an updated series with Fran in a Sylvia-style mom role, and yes, a possible streaming revival. The cast is always thrilled about the prospect. Charles Shaughnessy, Lauren Lane, Renée Taylor, they all say they'd return in a heartbeat. They even reunited virtually during the pandemic and again for Fran's Walk of Fame ceremony, which only fanned the flames. So why isn't it happening? Well, Hollywood. Fran's duties as SAG-AFTRA president took priority. The 2023 strikes froze development everywhere, and Sony moved slower than Niles delivering an insult with dramatic pause. But the demand is huge. Fans want answers. Where are the Sheffields now? Did Niles and Cece survive marriage without a restraining order? Did Brighton ever settle on a career that wasn't a disaster? And is Sylvia still walking into people's apartments uninvited? The cast is ready, the fans are desperate, all that's missing is an official green light. Until then, we're stuck in the world's longest sitcom cliffhanger. The ultimate will they or won't they? Number 3, Fran fought to keep the show Jewish. When The Nanny was in development, CBS had one big note, and it wasn't about the outfits. Executives suggested making Fran Fine Italian instead of Jewish, hoping it would appeal more to Middle America. Sponsors like Procter & Gamble even hinted they'd buy more ad time if Fran agreed to the change. In short, Hollywood tried to de-Jewish the most Jewish sitcom character ever created. Fran Drescher's response was absolutely not. She and co-creator Marc Jacobson stood their ground, insisting that Fran Fine's Jewish identity wasn't a decoration, it was the character.
Rita didn't get you blackballed. They threw you out of Hadassah because you donated cakes with half the frosting licked off.
Her humor, her family dynamic, her worldviews, even her closet full of sequins came from that Queen's Jewish foundation. Changing her ethnicity would have turned Fran Fine into generic sitcom wallpaper, and Fran wasn't about to give up the parts of herself that made the character shine. So, she fought, held the line, and got her way. That decision made TV history. Fran Fine became the first openly Jewish sitcom lead played by a Jewish actress since the 1940s, and audiences loved it. Yiddishisms, Hanukkah episodes, Sylvia's guilt trips, the Fine family dynamic, none of it was watered down, and viewers around the world embraced it anyway. In the end, the thing executives feared would alienate people was exactly what made the show special. The Nanny proved that authenticity plays, loud, proud, and with an accent straight out of Flushing. Number 2, the theme song's best line came straight from Fran. You can probably sing the Nanny theme song right now. Go on. She was working in a bridal shop. See?
She was working in a bridal shop in Flushing, Queens, till her boyfriend kicked her out in one of those crushing scenes.
It's lodged in your brain forever, but here's the twist. The most iconic line in that entire song didn't come from songwriter Hampton Callaway, it came from Fran Drescher herself.
She had style, she had flair, she was there. That's how she became the Nanny.
Callaway was up against serious competition for the job, so she wrote 2 completely different theme songs to boost her chances. Her father, a journalist, told her, if you want to get it right, talk to the source.
Prescribed. Now the father finds her beguiling. Watch out, CC. And the kids are actually smiling.
So she called Fran to ask the simplest, smartest question possible. Who is Fran Fine in one sentence? Fran thought for a moment, then dropped pure lyrical gold. She's the lady in red when everybody else is wearing tan.
She's the lady in red when everybody else is wearing tan.
Callaway immediately knew that was the hook. She built the entire winning version of the theme around that line, and when Fran heard both versions, she instantly chose the one featuring her off-the-cuff description. That single sentence didn't just become a lyric, it became the nanny's entire brand. It summed up the character, the show, the wardrobe, and the vibe. She was loud, bold, unmissable, and gloriously out of place in the best way possible. While other sitcoms had generic opening jingles, The Nanny got a theme song with attitude, courtesy of Fran herself. The line that millions still remember was born in a casual phone call and went on to define a decade of TV fabulousness.
The flashy girl from Flushing, the nanny named Fran.
Number 1, Fran's voice made nasal the new sexy. Now let's talk about the voice. The Queen's accent heard round the world. Fran Drescher's unmistakable sound became the nanny's calling card.
Hi. Excuse me, Miss Fran Drescher, but I am your biggest fan. Oh, thank you. Oh my God, you really do talk like that. Who would make this up?
That laugh, that nasality, that musical honk you could identify from 3 rooms away, it turned Fran Fine into one of the most iconic sitcom characters of the 90s, but here's the twist. Early in her career, everybody tried to make Fran change it. Agents said it was too nasally. Casting directors insisted she'd never get serious roles, and more than a few well-meaning professionals suggested elocution lessons to soften her sound.
Really? I didn't see that. When was it on? Now. And don't forget to watch the series finale next week. Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Unless, of course, that's the night I'm having my twins.
Basically, Hollywood wanted her to bleach out the exact thing that made her unforgettable. Fran refused, full stop. And she was right. The voice people told her to fix became her superpower. The Nanny didn't just use her voice, it celebrated it. Writers built jokes around it, impressionists copied it on talk shows, fans around the world mimicked it with affection. What Hollywood once treated like a flaw became the show's entire personality. It was bold, loud, proud, and absolutely unmistakable. Fran Drescher took the one thing everyone told her to change and turned it into international fame, 6 seasons of hit TV, and one of the most imitated laughs in pop culture history. Not bad for a girl from Flushing who never tried to sound like anyone but herself. And there you have it, 15 weird, wild, and totally true facts about the nanny. Which fact surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below, and if you love this trip back to the Sheffield mansion, hit that like button, subscribe for more nostalgic TV deep dives, and stick around for our next episode. Until then, this is Remember When.